Hello everybody, Andrew Casey at Hypersanity Books. Today I'll be taking a look at the author, R.L. Stine. Number 10, 9 years old. His career started when he was 9 years old, and it started just with writing for little jokes and bits for magazines and newspapers. Then, with this part of his life, he was also going to the barber shop and reading Tales of the Crypt. That's also relevant. At 9 years old, he had the typewriter, and his mum would encourage him to go out and play and socialise with other kids. But he enjoyed his passions of writing. Learning from that, that's a good place to start. So think about that with your writing journey. What inspired you to begin in the first place? Number 9. Compelling title and discipline. With his writing routine, he begins his day Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., writing 5 days a week. With this discipline and routine, whether he finishes a certain word count or not, he stops at that point. There are some occasions where he will work outside those hours, but generally he keeps a good work-life balance with his writing and discipline. With the titles, however, he will always go for a compelling title. He has different ideas, but if he can't think of a compelling title, he won't bother to put too much energy into that particular book. Number 8. Simple sentences. So there are 4 types of sentences, whether we're declaring something, making a statement, I am a student. Interrogative, ask a question, are you a student? Imperative, give a command, welcome the new student. Exemplatory, form of expression, there are so many students. They're things to think about when you're writing sentences. The R.L. Stine, there are 4 basic types of sentence structures. You have simple sentences, compound sentences, complex, and then compound complex sentences. With R.L. Stine, he keeps to simple sentences. So, borrowing this particular book from the library, I don't like the cover of the newer books compared to the older books. With this in mind, most of the sentence structures within the book are kept to simple sentences. Number 7. Avoid slang. What he means by this is there are different ways that people will talk in different times, and they'll come and they'll go. This was popular in my day.
G'day, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
When we have certain things that are current in today's world, it will be here today, gone tomorrow. So when writing certain stories, the idea is not to use too much of those sorts of references because you want your story to stand the test of time. And when you have a story be relatable from one generation to the next generation, that's where Goosebumps is effective. Even though there are different technology changes and our world has changed drastically from what it used to be, the books are still engaging and relevant today. Number 6, real life experiences.
And he pulled the mask over his head and he couldn't get it off. And I thought, what a great... I should have helped him, right?
R.L. Stine talks about using real life experiences, as this other example shows, where you can come up with a lot of different creative ideas from your own life. And then there are different fears and phobias that we have that we can integrate into our stories, or other fears of other people. He also does suggest with any sort of other forms of mediums, whether we're reading, writing, TV, newspapers, video games, you can get a little bit of inspiration from different sources, but always bring everything back to the real world. Number 5, the real world. When writing for children, he suggests to leave the real world out. There is no divorce, murder. There are different issues within a story that might be testing the boundaries, but you've got to keep it to the right audience. So within Goosebumps, yes, some characters are confirmed dead or face different issues or tragedies worse than death. However, the real world cannot intervene. And I think that's interesting how he was able to write so many books, because he kept to some very basic guidelines and some different rules. that helped keep the book in check. Number 4, know your ending. In the Goosebumps movie, we heard about every story has a beginning, middle, and twist. If you already know what the ending is and beginning with the ending, while you're writing the story, you have ideas on how you can put different plots and subplots in your story to change it along, to keep some mystery in your story to what the conclusion's going to be. Sometimes with a simple story, however, an ending can become predictable, where in some of the Goosebumps stories I have foreseen some of the different endings by assuming the general twist. With the book, as an example, Calling All Creeps.
I just wanted to say, enjoy the cookies.
Instead of trying to stop everyone else in the school by being turned into creeps, the protagonist gives up and allows the antagonist to do what they're going to do. So there are different ideas that you may have with your story if you are beginning with the ending. Number 3, rewrites. The rewriting phase of editing is the part that he enjoys the most. When you have a story, just as an example, because we're talking about Goosebumps, which are short chapters, they can be anywhere between 2 to 5 pages, and they're not too long, the chapters. When you are writing a book, as an example, 12 chapters, and you're missing 2 or 3 chapters within the story, and needing some sort of filler, that's not so effective for the rewrite phase. You want to have as much fleshed out as you can with your story. And then the rewrite phase is the enjoyable part, because that's where your story will really unfold. And that's where the writing phase is. This is where he enjoyed it the most. My most recent book that's coming out, I enjoyed this phase a lot more compared to when I wrote Darksparrow. The most recent book is a lot simpler in comparison to the more complicated story. However, I enjoyed the rewrite phase. Even though there were certain struggles and a need to rewrite, this worked out quite well. So think about rewrites with your writing journey. Number 2, mature audiences.
He's getting revenge for what our parents did to him.
There is a series that came out in 2023. I enjoyed this series. It is fantastic. If you like Goosebumps, if you have some nostalgia from the past but want something a lot more mature, I recommend to give this series a go. It was engaging. At first I was annoyed between its 10-part episodes, where 3 episodes is from his point of view, then another character's point of view, and so on, where it's at the same time, at the same place, but unfolding the story that way. It did move forward from there, and it was engaging how it was certain points from the teenagers in this story, but the teenagers which were their parents from the past, and how they come into the story from covering up certain things from the past. There is a lot of nostalgia from Goosebumps between the books that was definitely not done within the TV series, but having the story as a whole and introducing other characters like Fifi the possessed dog in the Choose Your Own Adventure books made the appearance in the movie. I enjoyed it. Having that little bit of a backstory.
3 days is all I need, because I know something big is just about to happen.
Number 1 piece of advice. R.L. Stine's number 1 piece of advice is to not give advice. I know that sounds counterproductive, but the reason for it, if you want to be an author, you will find a way to be an author. When it comes to a lot of people asking different questions, they want the simple answer. It's the same with exercise. Some just want it in the simple form when we know it's hard work. If you enjoy reading and writing and you want to ask different questions, certainly contact me. You can email me, andrewcasey@hypersanitybooks.com. Leave something in the comments. I am going to do live streams soon, so you can join in on that. Within your writing process, sometimes too much advice can hold up your process. That's why sometimes you might find a mentor or a teacher where you will have your one-on-one training and advice to move forward with your manuscript. You may need longer to publish a book. You may have already published books. You may be more successful than I am. There are traditional routes to take, self-publishing paths, some hybrid publishing and investing into other people's work. Otherwise, that's another story and shall be told another time.